Well, I don't think I ever felt I left. From the first one, where I have, all met, and we all kind of, a lot of the crew that is here on the third one is where we started, and we moved forward onto the second one, and now this third one just feels like a nice completion to the whole story. But my own personal story is that on the first one I met and married my husband. On the second one, my son was born, and he was the voice of baby Poe, because we found that most of the babies at that time were like 60 years old, all the sound effects. So I was able to bring a microphone home and record him. And then on this one, both my husband and my son are in the movie. And so as an editor, I guess it had to be, because it's the only way I get to see them, because we do so much long hours as editors. So it was good. It has its own feeling of a kind of a period of a decade in my life. He's just so innocent and really lovable, in the sense that he has no malicious side to him. And so you identify with him as the fan, and that he is the fan of this. But then when he gets thrown in, it becomes something that we'd all love to be. I would love to be the Dragon Warrior. I'll never be it. But, it does give you that feeling that anything is possible. Beginning of this film, he's the Dragon Warrior, but he needs to move forward. Shifu now feels he needs to be a teacher, that he needs to hand over what he has learnt. And he's worried about that, because I don't think he feels ready for anything like that. And then because of the threat that now takes place, and because of a number of other things that happen, that his panda father shows up, he is put into this position of being the teacher of pandas. So it was certainly, in the franchise, a hard one to know where to go with Poe, because in the second one he had been, juggling cannonballs, so you didn't quite know what we would do next in the third one. But I do feel like bringing in the new elements of Chi, the spirit realm, bringing back one of my favorite characters, which is Oogway. It really has brought it into a new place, and really it stands alone as a great movie. Well, the battle was a hard one as an editor. We moved it around the structure of the movie, because to open with this new place, the spirit realm, to open with this new character, Kai, it felt we were worried that the audience wouldn't know anything about this, wouldn't know the rules of what she was. So we had moved it. We had it further along in our first act, and it was only towards the end when we realized that the audience was able to understand so much about what we were going for, and that we moved it to the very beginning. And I think in opening with that piece in the spirit realm, with the battle with Oogway and Kai, it just sets it off with this place of danger. Jack comes to sessions and he says, "Oh, I don't think Poe will say that." And then he comes up with something that we called, gold, because he came up with skadoosh. He came up with, and that was just something he was doing. Like, he was thinking in his mind, he was reading what was on the script page, and he thought in his mind, "Oh, he's actually going skadoosh." And it was something that we then used from a session. So there are so many things like that we use, ad-libs that Jack does, that are very much what we call poeisms. And we will hone through all of the recordings, trying to find things that he had said or words that he says. And he himself does that. He looks at the page and then comes up with some extraordinary nuggets of gold. Brian came in, and he really, did a number of different takes on what the dad would be. And we tried a whole load of things, and it was very interesting, fascinating to see his process of coming to this, who Lee is. And in the end, he really, every time he showed, he knew exactly who this character was. And he also came with ad-libs that we used, and jokes that he added. J.K. Simmons was a very interesting take on a villain, because sometimes when I listen to his voice and I look at him, he's just got such a range from different characters that I would not have, I wouldn't have seen him as Kai, but now he is Kai, and you really believe that this is the voice of Kai, and he again, was very, very, tried a number of things, but came up with this great voice. Kate Hudson, she makes Mei Mei very, very likable because she is so likable, and she has this beautiful voice that is kind of sexy, and I don't know if I can say that, but she brings Mei Mei alive, and was really, really interested in trying out different things and having her dance and do all kinds of stuff. So she's been great. Well, I have worked with Jen and Ale since the very beginning. Jen was head of story on the first one, and then she directed alone on the second one. And with Ale, he had been in the story department and also in animation. And I felt they were a great team in terms of she was really, really good at understanding the heart of the movie, as was Ale. And Ale was fantastic at finding Poe's charm. He loves Poe, and in a number of different scenes, you can see some of the stuff that he brought to it, like the scene of him on the fight when they're fighting the Five and the zombies show up. He brought this whole funny stuff about him being a fan and showing him the masters from old as their action figures. So he went for a lot of comedy to do with, of what Poe's character is about. So both of them worked really, really well together, and they both figured out how they like to work. And I enjoyed working with both of them. Some of the music, even now, when I think of some of the big themes, the Oogway theme, it was very nice to have that back in the third one. But it's really that scene where Oogway turns into petals in the first movie with that beautiful score that Hans made, really has it just helps so much to evoke, feelings that I don't think we could ever do temp-wise. So he really has brought such a great feel to the movie with his music. I think it's that idea that we didn't know where we could go from two. We take each movie alone. We do them alone. Number one was finished, then number two came about from an idea that Jen had, that she wanted to research his background and his mom and everything that had happened to him. And at the end of that, because as I say, he was throwing cannonballs about, it's very hard to know how to go forward from that. So that in itself is a challenge. That it became, I think, more about now what would happen if Poe met all these pandas. What if he met his family members? What if he met, other pandas? Because he's only really been the one panda in this village. So that was an interesting way forward to look at that side of Poe and look in his background.